tell us about these rejuvenation Olympics and just tell us a little bit more about your aging. I think you had a ratio of like 0.66, which meant that for every 100 days, you were actually only aging biologically by 66 days, and you were second on the
Yeah.
leaderboard before they changed sort of the protocol. And we'll talk about that. But yeah, how did it go
Yeah.
down, and how did it feel, to be like number two, and sort of the amount of money you were spending? And maybe you want to talk about your routine and how much money you were spending, because I think that a critical thing that I want people to take away from this episode is that you can do it with like your big foundational pillars in your life. You don't need to be spending $2 million a year. You don't have to be spending thousands and thousands of rands and dollars to make sure that you've got longevity and health span.
Yeah, and I think everybody needs to keep in the back of their mind, like, you know, nobody in a blue zone had a wearable. Nobody. Maybe they had some supplements, maybe, but I mean, you just kind of have to keep that in the back of your mind, and that's what I would always tell myself. But the Rejuvenation Olympics has been fascinating. Like I said, I thought it was so interesting to get on there and see who's doing what. And I just thought it was really kind of for health geeks like me. I thought it was kind of going to be our own little forum. And then it's kind of turned into something else. And I mean, I'm grateful, absolutely grateful for everything it's turned into. But yeah, so my first pace of aging was 0.76 at the zero before I started taking Novos. Then from those first 6 months, I kind of went through yet another very stressful period. It had a lot to do with my son in 2020 and things I won't get into, but it was definitely, I was not sleeping. I was not doing the sauna. I was not doing it. It's a testament to and I don't make money by telling you this. I'm not employed by them. I don't make anything, but that product and whatever that mix of um, molecules is going on in there, it seems to really work. And so it lowered my pace of aging by 8% in the first 6 months. And that's, not sleeping consistently, eating in and out burger. I was, before, obviously, for the 15, 20 years before this, I was pretty healthy. I mean, a pace of aging of 0.76 isn't bad, already.
Good.
So, yeah, yeah. And I was doing a lot of this younger you protocol, which is also on my website. People can find that through Dr. Kara Fitzgerald. At any rate, and then the second 6 months, when I kind of had some solutions in place, now I went back to the gym. I started the sauna and the cold showers. Then I had heard about this metric from Dr. Sarah Gottfried about a pound of vegetables a day. And I already had known that, like, I was already eating like a lot of greens every day because I knew that that was really good in menopause. And especially just ladies out there, like if you're struggling with trying to lose weight, definitely like up the greens to like, a half a pound a day. So 8 ounces. At any rate, so I was already kind of doing that. And I thought, well, I can, another half a pound of vegetables. That seems pretty easy. Let me see if I can do that. So I just slowly like built that up. And then the other metric I was shooting for was 100 grams of protein. And that was just based on my DEXA scans showing that my lean body mass was 98 pounds. And, there's kind of this, I don't know, debate about whether it should be your total body weight or your lean mass. So I just figured, well, I'll only count the protein foods. So like, the meats and the protein powders and eggs and I would only count like those high protein foods. And then everything else, like if I'm getting protein from veggies or, the few grains that I eat, like that would just be gravy. And that might take me, I weigh 130 pounds. So I thought, oh, maybe that'll make up that difference. I don't know. But, I just didn't want to get too far into that debate. So 100, those are the two things that I monitor every day. And I let everything else kind of take care of itself. Um,
So
I'm sorry,
protein and
you,
vegetables, if I just have to summarize, you're having 100 grams of protein, and then you're
mm,
making sure that you're eating a pound of vegetables.
yeah, yeah. And I don't, did I answer everything about the Rejuvenation Olympics? Is there anything else you wanted to
No, I
know
think
or
I
we can,
think
okay.
basically with your protocol, which I want to go through from a Monday to Sunday. I know you got on your website. We'll put the link there, which is very important, is that you were able to have one of the best sort of rate of aging numbers, known. I think you were second, if I recall, there on the
Mhm.
rejuvenation leaderboard. So maybe you can take us through. I mean, those are the two sort of big pillars of, the vegetables. And we had Cara Fitzgerald's on the show, on the
I
podcast.
love
So
her.
she was incredible, and just her story in terms of how to reverse aging and that, and especially regarding methylation and that, which is such an important way
Mm,
to detoxify. And we'll talk about that. But take us through your routine in terms of what you do, what when you wake up, and what you
mhm.
eat from Monday to Sunday, if you can.
So when I wake up kind of varies with the year, although I think my son with him about to graduate, but when he's on summer break and he's out till like 11 o'clock at night or, now midnight, like I want to be home when or be awake when he gets home. So, just to make sure he's home safely. So I was getting up later, but typically I like to get up around 4:30 most days. I get up, I make a green tea and I just sit and first of all, I make my bed. That's another mindset thing I think is really important. And I do have that on my website, but I just think it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of like, okay, that's done. Okay, I've been successful at that. Okay, I can kind of build on that the rest of the day. So make the bed, um, sit with a cup of green tea, and I read the Bible. I'm certainly not prescriptive for that for everybody, but I do think some sense of spirituality and awe in your everyday life is I think important for longevity. I don't know, life is long and hard and we need practices. So at any rate, so I do that. Um, and then yeah, emails, whatever, that's like an hour. And then I head off to the gym. And I have to do that first thing in the morning because, just the day takes hold and it's really hard. Everything will get in my way if I don't go do that first thing. And it just feels really good. I like to be in a somewhat fasted state. I do put a little collagen protein in my green tea when I know I'm going to go do like a VO2 max or the heavier workouts. If I'm just going to go for a walk, I don't really do it. But anyway, um, and
So
so
basically, I'm just
that
going to
schedule.
summarize that you wake up at 4:30, depending on your son. You're basically doing some spiritual work. Do you do breath work in then, or do you just read the Bible, sit quietly, and then you do an hour of work, like on the computer email? So you go straight from your
Mhm.
spiritual into that hour of work, and then you go to the gym.
Yeah, it's usually like a half hour to an hour of work, but
Okay.
yes. And then I just try to get to the gym, pretty quickly. It's just if I do too many other things, I'll start feeling like, oh, I don't have time for that. It's such a mental
Okay.
monkey mind game. So I just try to get right off. And that's, what I do in the gym every day varies. VO2 max usually on Monday. Tuesday is my full body workout. Now today's Tuesday and I would normally be working out right now, but it's like, oh, no big deal. I'll go do that tomorrow. So we can talk about like consistency versus perfection. I think that's another thing I've struggled with. So at any rate, so that's all on my site and people can kind of see. But I just try to get in a week 2 full body strength training. So whether I divide those up between lower and upper, or I do it full body in one day, one VO2 max. I try to do one other, like a hit or something like that. And then the other days I just walk or, just something light and easy. So I'm not kind of upping all that cortisol and everything.